So today I'm going to be doing a makeup tutorial focusing on the eyes, doing a purple glam look. I'm going to be using the Huda Beauty Desert Dust palette. To start with, I'm going to be spraying my face with Badescu facial spray just to prep the skin for the makeup. I'm then going to press it in with a beauty blender just to kind of make sure that it sinks into the skin well. And for primer, I'm going to use Huda Beauty's Faux Filter Primer. It's a hydrating primer, so it's just going to give a nice moisturising base so that the makeup can adhere better. I'm then going to use POREfessional's primer in the T-zone just so that I can minimise the appearance of my pores and mattify where I'm a little bit oilier. I'm then going to move on to using my LA Girl Pro Concealer mixed with NYX's Under Eye Corrector, and I'm going to put it on under my eyes and in any areas that I have dark spots just from any acne scarring and hyperpigmentation. Then I'm going to blend that in with my fingers just to make sure that it's nice and seamless. And for my base, I'm going to use a combination of two foundations, and that will be Huda Beauty's Faux Filter Foundation in Dolce de Leche and Fenty Beauty Pro Filter Foundation in 290. One is slightly dark, one is slightly light, so I mix the combination to get my perfect shade. I'm applying that with my fingers, first just to place where I want it, and then I'm going to use my beauty blender just to blend that in. And for concealer or highlight, I'm going to use a combination of the LA Girl Pro Concealer in pure beige mixed with NYX's yellow corrector concealer for under my eyes and in the places that you would usually highlight, so on the bridge of the nose, on the forehead, cupid's bow. I'm then going to be moving on to using the LA Girl Pro Concealer again, but in a darker shade Toffee to use to contour. I'm going to be applying it under the cheekbones, along the forehead, down the bridge of the nose, and on the jawline. I'm going to be blending it in with the Real Techniques face contour brush. And the reason I'm doing this first is because I like my concealer to sit on the skin and get a little bit tacky. This is actually a good trick to get a bit more coverage out of your concealer. So I'm blending that in first, and then I move in and I blend out the concealer that I put around my mouth with a smaller dense brush, and this is going to give me the most coverage. Then going to go over the face with a beauty blender just to get rid of any excess product. For my under eyes, I'm going to use an angled dense sculpt brush just to get the most coverage and blend it out. I then go in with the bareMinerals translucent powder and Mercier secret brightening powder for my under eyes to set the face. So what I do is I use a beauty blender to blend out the excess, and then I set it, and then I go in and do this on one side, blend out any creases, and do it on the other side as well. I then bake anywhere that I usually crease or get a little bit oilier, i.e. my under eyes, around my mouth where my smile lines are, forehead, T-zone really. And then I grab my beauty blender and just set the rest of the face. Afterwards, I grab a big powder brush and brush away the excess powder. I then move on to brows and use precisely my brow in shade 6 to fill in my brows in more of a natural way. So I just brush them out and fill in any gaps that I do have. A little trick that I like to do is grab my Badescu facial spray, spray my face, and what this does is it kind of melts together the powders, and I grab my beauty blender just to get rid of any cakiness. I'm then going to use my contour kit by Anastasia in the shade light to medium and picking up the shade Havana just to set what I had cream contoured previously and add a bit of colour back into the skin. Moving on to eyes, I'm going to use a Huda Beauty Desert Dust palette, and the first shade I'm going to pick up is Desert Sand, which I'm going to use as a base for the shadows just so that they come on a lot more smoothly. I then pick up the shades Musk and Edam, which I apply in the crease as a transition shade. This step is key, just so that the colours blend nicely. Also keep in mind that you have to build it up for the intensity that you want. So if you want it more colour, if you want more colour payoff, or if you want less colour payoff, you just build it up and keep adding layers and make sure that you keep blending. Once I was happy that both eyes were equal, I then went in with the shades Amethyst and Amber, which I applied just under the crease, in the same section, same area, and blending it out until I liked the colour payoff. I then did also focus more on the outer and inner corner of the eye, as you can see, but I just keep blending. I then pick up the shade Saffron and place this on the outer and inner corner of the eye, not in a very particular way, just kind of messily, just so that I can see if I like how it sits. Once I'm happy with the colour placement, I then just blend it out and keep building on these sections of the eye until I'm happy with the colour payoff. And as you can see, I just keep building the colour on the inner and outer corners of the eye. I am purposely missing out the section in the middle just so that I can have a clear space for when I add the shimmer or whatever colour you choose to add in the middle of the eye. To add some depth, I'm going to pick up the colour Oud and I'm going to place this again on the inner and outer corner of the eye, but fairly close to the lash line, just so that it makes it easier when I add the liner later on and it looks more smoky. Then picking up a small concealer brush, I'm going to be applying the concealer in the centre of the eye quite precisely, and this is just carving out the shape that for where I want to add the shimmer. So you just want to do this on both eyes, and then I get the brush and I kind of just blend out the edges of it so that it blends into the deeper colours on the outer and inner corner of the eye, and I do the same on the other eye. And just to make the edges of the concealer a little bit softer, I pick up the colour Musk just to blend it out. I then pick up the shade Twilight on my finger and apply it in the centre of the lid, and this is the best way to do it because the shimmers or the shimmer toppers are best when applied with the finger to get the most impact. And just to blend the edges of Twilight, I'm going to go back in with a bit of Oud just to make it stand out and pop a bit more. Once I place the colour, I then blend it with a blending brush. And to balance the top, I'm going to pick up the shade Oud and just blend out the under eye. Try not to poke your eye out like I did. Keep blending until it is the right colour intensity that you want. I then pick up a Rimmel nude eyeliner and apply this in the waterline. This just kind of makes the eye look a little bit brighter and a little bit wider. And for my top liner, I'm going to use Maybelline Ink Matte Black Liner. And I first do a line along the eyelid, and then I draw out or map my wing, and then I connect it back to the lid. And before I apply false lashes, I'm going to go in with Benefit Roller Lash and apply this on the top lashes, just so that when I put the false lashes on, they can adhere to my real lashes a bit better. You can use any glue that you prefer. I like to use bonding glue, not very conventional. I use a tweezer to apply my false lashes. I first put them in the centre, and then I clip down both corners of the lash, and then I choose to pinch them, and that gives you the perfect lash. This is actually not recommended by lots of people, but I do go in with a lash curler because I find that it makes the lashes and my real lashes stick together a lot better, and it also makes the lashes look longer. And I go in with the second coat of mascara on the top and bottom this time. I then go back to my face and use MAC's Gingerly Blush and apply that to the apples of my cheeks. And for highlighter, I'm using Fenty Beauty Hustler Baby. It's my favourite go-to at the moment. I like to apply that with a fan brush, and I also apply some in the inner corners of my eyes just to make them stand out and look more open. And for lips, I'm using the Collection Cream Puff, which have now been discontinued, so a good dupe is the NYX Soft Matte Lip Cream in Abu Dhabi. And I'm just applying this all over the lips, kind of just going in with my lip shape, not really doing any overlining or anything. And on top of that, I'm going to use the Fenty Beauty Glow Baby Lip Gloss, which is a nice nude. It's got a bit of gold flecks in it. And to set my face, I'm going to use the Urban Decay All Nighter Setting Spray, generously spraying that all over my face, and you're done!